Praise the Lord, everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope you're all having a great day today. Although we did get a little snow last night and it's a little colder than it normally is. In us getting that snow, as my friend Tom Readout would say, that's not Jesus. We're not supposed to get snow in May. But it's better than, I think it was 1977. We got about 60 inches of snow or so on this day in 1977. So it's better than that. But at any rate, we are all one day closer to the end of this pandemic, and we will make it through this thing. And we're going to make it through together. I just saw in the newspaper this morning that on May 20th, some things are going to start to open up again here in the state of Connecticut with certain restrictions. So maybe we are headed in the right direction. This morning, I want to give you some tips for living in isolation. Astronaut Scott Kelly is a veteran of 4 space flights where he was the pilot for the Space Shuttle Discovery in December of 1999. Was his last space flight. And this experienced astronaut recently spoke about how to handle long periods of time in isolation, as in social isolation. Does that sound relevant to today's circumstances? Yeah, it sure does. Now, here are some wise and practical tips that he offers us from his time isolated in space. So 6 of them. Number 1 is regulate your expectations. Life will be different, so adjust your expectations for what normal will be. So much of our frustration in life stems from the distance between expectations and reality. I'll give you an example. Our expectation is that our children will learn their school lessons at home with no problems whatsoever. Now, they're used to doing them at school, away from home, perhaps, and now our expectation is our children are just going to pick right up. They're going to learn their school lessons at home with no problems whatsoever. They're going to be perfect little angels every moment of every day. But the reality is that this is new to them as well. And they will try to push the boundaries of what they can and can't get away with. So during our time of social isolation, we've got to adapt what we expect from life and manage our emotions. So get psyched for time alone. Prepare for more time to read or listen to podcasts or watch documentaries. I've started learning Hebrew during this time. I just finished up with a couple of Greek classes that I took, and I'm going to be taking an advanced Greek class in the fall, and I'm adding a Hebrew class in the fall. So I decided, hey, this is a great time to learn some Hebrew basics before the class even starts. Learn the Hebrew alphabet and all of that. So figure out something to do with your time. No, number 2, a second idea is schedule everything. Schedule your meal time. Schedule your exercise. Schedule your prep time for a virtual meeting, etc. Don't just leave things to chance, or they may not get done at all. It's much easier to exercise, or it's much easier to not exercise when it's not on the schedule, and you can just keep putting it off. When we plan for various activities, we'll better practice regulating our expectations. When we fail to schedule, we waste a lot of time, and we end up simply reacting to all kinds of distractions that pop up throughout the day. So isolation becomes manageable when we see a day full of meaningful projects that we can check off the list one by one. Number 3, go outside for a while every day. Now, even though astronaut Scott Kelly couldn't step outside of his space station or the space shuttle, he discovered the importance of getting outside of his normal routine and normal location where he spent the majority of his day. He suggests that it will accomplish a lot for us if we plan a break time to walk around outside and enjoy some fresh air. It will add value to our brains and our bodies. Number 4, a fourth suggestion is journal every day. What new ideas did you come up with today? What are you thinking about? What are you feeling today? Scott Kelly said one of the most helpful tasks he did while in space was to keep a journal where he wrote about what was happening both in his thoughts and feelings and outside of the shuttle. You'll look back one day and you'll have a record of all your days. Now, if this sounds intimidating, tell yourself you're just going to jot, not journal. And watch how your writing expands when you let yourself put thoughts into words. You can do this on a paper journal or in an electronic version of a journal, however best suits you. They even have apps that you can download that remind you to journal every day. Number 5, recognize the differences in personalities of the people with whom you're isolated. Even if it's just yourself. There's me, myself, and I. And sometimes we have 3 different personalities on any given day. But much of the time, conflict arises when we're cooped up with a group of people, even family, for long hours at a time. Scott Kelly said it helped him to remember the different personality types that he was with in the space shuttle or the space station. They'll likely communicate differently, expect different outcomes, and handle stress differently. If we're at least aware of the differences, we'll be much better equipped to handle things that come our way. Finally, number 6, communicate consistently. People tend to be down on what they're not up on. So in times of stress or isolation, we must over-communicate with others, even the items we assume everybody knows. This keeps negative or inaccurate narratives from seizing control of our thoughts. So if these tips worked for astronaut Scott Kelly while he was in space, they may just help us in the space between our ears. They may just help our thinking and help us get through this time of isolation together. Have a great day, everybody.